Greetings and salutations, y'all. If you haven't seen another special guest, but we do kind of like a little bit last time. No special guest this time, as far as like for an ONG strike zone. We're gonna talk a little bit first. Start with our special guest from a mighty chapter in the state of Florida. Um, Trying to find a way to say this in which I'm not like being too over the top, but one of the busiest people I know as far as like actively working for FAMU. So I've gotten to admire this person in a lot of meetings. And so to get her on the show, she hit me up and I was like, oh yeah, we definitely got to do that, man. So y'all know we like to talk a little fun, talk a little mess. We're going to start out with the business. Then we're going to look forward to this football game and talk about a little about what we've seen. Y'all already know what's up, what it's about to be. Thanks up.
Yeah, baby, you know what time it is. Now let's get it started.
Are you kidding me? Unreal!
While our HBCUs are mostly known for academic rigor, community, they also know how to turn up.
Does he have it? Yes, he does!
And that might be the knockout punch.
All right, greetings, salutations. If you didn't see, episode is titled "Bridges to Success" because our guest is from Jacksonville, River City. A lot of bridges there, covering there, but she's also connected to a lot of organizations. I told y'all, I'm a lot more complicated than you think, and I like to think, a little deeper. So, our special guest today, we'll see. I don't know. We might have one or two more before, but this week, well, we do have one Thursday. We'll see how that goes in the baseball game. But today, it is Miss Hattie Alexander. Had to slow down. I almost said it too fast. But how are you doing there, Miss Alexander?
I'm doing great. Great. How are you?
I am well. I am well. If y'all don't know, give y'all a brief introduction of who she is. She works with the Rattler Boosters. We're going to ask about that. She works at the F Club, National Alumni Association. I promise you, I don't know how people do it. And she's just been a trooper and a fighter for FAMU. So we're going to make sure we give her a chance. And, I said my little salvo, but Miss Alexander, tell them about yourself and, just tell the people about you.
Well, first of all, Mr. Hatley, thanks for having me on Fangs Up podcast. And as I said to my husband, I really enjoyed Thursday night. Okay. But anyway, I'm a native of the Big G, that's Greenville, Florida, One Caution Light, which is in Madison County. I'm the fourth of 9 children. Grew up on a 240-acre farm that we owned and still have. And I'm proud to say I'm a graduate of the School of Pharmacy. And also, one little tidbit I need to mention, I said to my husband, in 1955, a lot of people don't know, but FAMU had a barber college. And my father, even though he was a farmer, he was a graduate of FAMU Barber College in 1955. And so all of us get a college degree, even though he only went to 3rd degree. So I have to give him credit. And also, why FAMU? I was recruited in 1969 by the number one college, number one university in America. And my father said, well, the only thing I know about it is that is where the Kennedy boys went. That same week, I came to FAMU to visit my sister who was enrolled there. She introduced me to the dean of pharmacy, and he asked me to come over to, at that time, it was a college of pharmacy. Now, I'm sorry, it was a school of pharmacy. Now it's the college of pharmacy. So after I toured the college of pharmacy, he convinced me to enroll. And my plan was to get my pharmacy degree, join the military, travel over the world, forget about getting married, having kids. But along the way, I met Mr. Emmett Alexander. We dated for 3 years, have been married 51 years, and we have four
Wow.
children, all of whom are college graduates from Florida A&M University. They had three choices. Your checks are going to say FAMU, Florida A&M University, or Florida A&M. So thank God we have 4 out of 4. That I'm very grateful. And as a side note, we laugh about it now. I never would have dated my husband if I had known he was a football player. Because football players and pharmacists maybe don't match up too good, especially since he was recruited by Jake Gaither area. You know what I mean?
Oh
But I
wow.
met
So
him
he
in
was
my
good.
physics class. And not too many football players are in a physics class. So thank God
Oh,
he's one of the best things that happened to me during my 5 years at Florida A&M University. Salon fraternity, believe it or not, the pharmacy semi-professional organization was called fraternity instead of sorority. That was one of the best things because it interlinked us to a whole lot of other things. Okay. So after I met Mrs. Alexander, he changed my whole way of thinking. I'm married, 4 kids. Now we have the third grandchild at FAMU. So
oh
it's all
wow.
about FAMU. Never regretted. And the main thing is because I went to FAMU, I've been able to reach back and help so many others attend FAMU, whether that's paying a tuition, paying a room and board, just because I realized had somebody not helped him or myself, I was blessed. I went to school for 5 years, only had to pay back $500. So
Wow.
my uh, one of my goals in life, I guess the underlining thing that motivated me, somebody reached out, helped me. I don't even know who it was, and so my thing is pass the love on and help someone else.
Okay. I love that. And again, you kind of hear she had an option. I almost want to know who that number one school was, but she still chose FAMU, and I love the fact that y'all still got the family land over there. So we know how that goes in North Florida, especially how they like to try to take our land. So, but you mentioned you got your degree in pharmacy. Did you follow that as a career?
Oh yes, I was a pharmacy manager for 42 years. And so this has given me a whole lot of background in communication skills, customer skills, um, also to assess situations. Some of it I have to assess. Then, when we talk about acute or chronic, acute, we have to act then. Chronic, that's long going, so we can manage that along the way. And so even with people skills, we if there's an issue or problem, then we stop the bleeding first before it gets to hemorrhaging. And so that has always been one of my fortitudes. If we can handle this issue or problem, before it gets to the hemorrhaging stage, we're good.
Okay, and I like that because I do notice, and I will tell y'all, as I stated before, I get the benefit of having her in meetings, and she's normally not talking to me. I'm normally just kind of in the background doing my digital thing, but you get to hear her experience, you hear her wisdom, even in points of frustration. Some of y'all have seen some of these booster calls. You've definitely heard her voice, and she's definitely one of those people who's very like, let's stay focused. Hey y'all, let's get out here. Let's do what we got to do, and I love that. And I love how you kind of you know tied into your experience as pharmacy. But now with some of the DSOs, we're going to jump right into that. Could you mention what has your experience been with the Rattler F Club, and maybe if you can kind of share what they do for those who are not initiated and
Well,
don't
with
know what they
the
do?
yeah, yeah, the Rattler F Club, that is a non DSO, but all of our Also, we're one of the organizations. Our president is Mr. All of our fundraising is for help all of the sports. I believe we have 13. And so we just distribute them among the 13 sports wherever they're needed. And so it has been a pleasure working with Mr. Curtis. Matter of fact, we have actually been a corporate sponsor for almost 10 years. And actually, we're at a point in our life that when we give or write checks, we feel like, oh, it's a blessing to be able to give, because we were the recipients, going back to how we went to school, of givers we don't even know. Okay, so here again, we just pass on the love. But also, I'm an advisor to the Rattler F Club, and my husband is on the board for the Rattler F Club, and we donate consistently to the Rattler F Club Endowment Fund.
Oh, okay. Look, now with the boosters, I ain't gonna tell you there too long because you're running for NAA, now boosters. You already you got a spot with the boosters because you gotta mention and gotta
All
tell
right.
people what do you do with the Rattler boosters, and I'm gonna tie this into NAA in a minute though.
Okay, for the Rattler Boosters, I have the pleasure and the honor of being the recording secretary under the dynamic leadership of Mr. Selvin Cobb. And also, I'm the unofficial timekeeper to the Rattler Boosters, which I enjoy that. We are a DSO, and our primary goal is to raise funds for athletics. Okay. And we do that with pleasure. Matter of fact, we're having a big fundraiser on August 23rd, and we're having a golf tournament on August 9th. So we're soliciting all of your support because it's all about raising money for the students. So our thing is, we put the personal agendas aside and be there for the students.
She is absolutely right about that timekeeper piece, as I stated. There's some reason I've been sitting there looking at my watch, and you hear her say, "Hey, y'all, is this time? We need to start to wrap this up." and 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 she also has an ability to serve as a calming presence a lot of times. Like I love it. I told y'all certain people, I'll tell you quick, and I was like, when she messages me, I was like, oh yeah, come on on, come on on. Like she's good people's in the meetings, and I tell you, I definitely love it. Now, before I ask you, like within the National Alumni Association, how did you get involved with the National Alumni Association?
Well, actually, Keith, I'm glad you asked. And believe it or not, it was in 1990 we met the VP of the foundation, and it was Mr. Leo Sams, who was VP of the foundation under President Humphreys. So when he found out what Emmett job description was and what mine was, he was like, "Okay, I need some co-hosts, and we're going to have a meeting with Bell South to sponsor our corporate banquet." Quite successful. So we were co-sponsors of the Bell South banquet. That was 1990. We brought in over $230,000 because the net proceeds, we were able to get Bell South to underwrite the whole banquet. That netted 90,000. Each one of the managers that donated 1,000, it was 10 of them. The president said, "I'll go a step further. I'll match it 2-for-1." That was another 30,000. President of the longshoremen at the time, he was on program. He brought a check for 10,000, and he said, "And I'm making a commitment from the longshoremen for $10,000 a year for the next 10 years." So $230,000, and we was like, "Okay, that sounds pretty good." And so from then on, we were committed to raising money for FAMU. And we've been lifetime members of almost all of the organizations for over 30 years. And I'm glad
And
to be, a member.
I love that. That's one of those things that I aspire to. I tell my wife, that's my That's my kind of my quiet thing. I was like, hey, once to get these kids out of the house, I got life membership for three things that are my goals: Rattler Boosters, NAA, and Cap Alpha Size. So once I get them three life memberships, I'm good. But and I love that you can kind of speak to that experience, and you have a history of fundraising. We see it in the Rattler Boosters, we see it in the National Alumni Association. But could you now speak to some of the current things that y'all doing in GRE Lee? You know, I know we had your young lady running for first VP, who's running for the big office now. You know, your president. We had her on here talk about it and what she's done. And you got the younger flair, but we got the OG here. Could you speak about kind of being an OG about this? You know, being that person that's like, hey, I got experience. I've been doing this. I've had success. You know, can you talk about some of the things y'all have done in Jacksonville to really make it what it is?
Okay, at this point, I'm actually second VP of the Jacksonville chapter. And in that role, I'm ex officio of all of the committees. So I have an understanding of all of the committees. I'm also co-chair of membership, which is another integral part. Now, with membership, we've like gone to the different churches because I think a lot of times we forget that the church and the Black community, that's really the center of a whole lot of entities. We've also formed partnerships with, let's just say, for instance, Bob Hayes. We make sure we attend that. We meet and greet different people, you know, all across the spectrum. Um, Also, I'm a, stretch it out just a little bit. Emmett and I are also co-sponsors of the Rattler Athletic fundraising tour. We'll form partnerships with that group. Matter of fact, let's see, year before last, no, it was this year. Charles Griggs came from the mayor's office, and by the way, the mayor, our present mayor, is very interested in bringing a game to Jacksonville. I said we are one of the few cities that have a Democratic mayor. Praise God. Okay. We also had Chris Porter, who's the sports announcer for Channel 12. Okay. We also had Dennis Garrett. He's a fellow alumnus, and he's interested in doing whatever he can to help FAMU and the alumni. So we'll form partnerships. We get out there, we meet and greet people, and we try to push our young adults forward because we realize we're getting to be mature, not old, but mature. And so there's, and for instance, the Rattler Athletic Fund, we've raised over, after the coach, matter of fact, when the AD called me, I said, so why are you calling me? He said, oh, I know who to call. That's you and your husband. So I said, okay, thank you. We'll rise to the occasion. So we raised over $100,000 with the Rattler Athletic Fund tour. And I need to mention here, and sometimes it's hard for the newer, well, for the younger generation. Okay, some people you reach by email, social media, but I have a whole lot of people I take the time to call. I take the time to stop by their office. Matter of fact, a certain doctor, I called him, did you get my email? He was like, I don't have time for this SHIT. Tell me how much money you want. Now, this is true story. He said, I get over 500 emails a day. So just tell me how much money you want and stop by and pick up a check. So, excuse me. So we have to keep in mind, and then we have to understand who our stakeholders and shareholders are and how they communicate. So we need to use the concept of a salad bowl, and all of that, provides for a good salad and helping us to reach our goal. And
Okay.
the other thing is, while we're talking about Jacksonville, excuse me, we also participate in Be Out Day. Okay, Be Out Day year before last, we netted $3,000. This past year, it was over $3,000. That also helps us with our scholarships. And I have to give a shout out also to our president, Ashley Cooper, and our fundraising committee, which is Natasha Henderson and Katrina Taylor. Year before last, and we're talking net dollars, our scholarship committee raised $60,000. Last year, 65. This year, our goal is 70,000. And I let them know any way we can help you all, we do. So they have done a great job. And so a lot of time we work from the background. Okay, let me call this person. I'll stop by this office. So whatever it takes to get the job done, we're happy to do that. And I just said to my husband, we are more busier in our retirement years than when we were working. Actually, when we were working, we got paid for it. This is a non-paid job, but we have the satisfaction of knowing it's helping our university, and we're very proud and happy to do that.
Oh yeah, it goes noticed. I will tell you, is working from the Florida region side. A lot of times, it's very often when in the group chat, it's like, all right, what they doing in Jacksonville? Did you post it? All right, we got to post whatever they're doing in Jacksonville. Like, y'all keeping up with JRE. Like, we trying, man, but they do so much. Like, I mean, but it's a labor of love. Like, and we love to see the great things y'all are doing. And you mentioned Be Out Day, and we talked to Ashley about y'all getting chapter of the year. But could you mention kind of how you all were able to do that from your end and your perspective?
We were able to do that with our scholarships and recruitment. And then the other thing is going out into the community. Matter of fact, one of the most effective ways we know it when you go out, have on something orange and green, and that says FAMU. And I don't remember when we've gone out and someone haven't stopped us. Oh, I graduated from FAMU. Okay, are you a paying alumnus? Are you a paying alumnus? Okay, we have an application for you. Give me your email or your phone number, and we can make that happen. Now, and a lot of people, I don't know what it is, they just need a jump start, I guess. And so usually they come on board. And so we have increased our numbers, in memberships, and we've increased our dollars, in scholarships. And I mean, scholarship, that is the blood of any organization or fundraising.
Yes, absolutely. And I love that you mentioned, and one thing I love about Jerry Lee is just watching from afar. I love how you don't just talk it, but you walk it. Like with Jerry Lee,
Yes.
one of the things you see, they don't just tell you that they're going to get the young people involved. They model it. We mentioned Miss Kennedy, our track athlete, multiple times. Y'all know that's my favorite track athlete on team. But she's one of those students. She's a student athlete, and the young lady, she's not just an athlete. She works. She has a job that she works as a student. She goes to class, and when J.R.E. Lee does something, if they're walking around campus, there's a good chance you're going to see her picture up there with the rest of the people from Jacksonville leading, and she's still a student, and you'll see her with the various ages of y'all. So I just really admire that, just from a alumnus perspective and someone who gets to kind of see the student on this side, and just kind of work with her. It's one of the things I appreciate, and I really enjoy. So,
And one other thing I need to add, I even suggested to our president, I was like, okay, we have close to 600 students. Now, we can't give out 600 scholarships, but if we've got close to 300 members, each one of us can adopt 2 students. And why not give every student something if it's a $50 gift card? We want to touch them before they leave FAMU because we don't want them to leave and say, oh, Jerry Lee didn't do anything for me.
gotcha. And we got Marvin here. Edwin, not much. Look, we're gonna talk some sports at the end, but I when I get some folks on, not that I'm starstruck, but when I'm around people I know that's working, I try to get them out there so you can see them and know what they're doing. Let me say it like that. Um, Now, with this, you mentioned what y'all do in the community and different things and really working for these different organizations. How does that translate to becoming the third vice president for the National Alumni Association?
As a third VP for the National Alumni Association, first of all, relationships is number one. Okay. Valuing people and knowing who your target audience is. The same conversation I have with someone might be different. Matter of fact, it is going to be different with the president of a company. So we have to know, and not just know, then we have to appreciate all of our stakeholders. I don't care if it's $10, $20, $1,000, and we have to just show them appreciation and value them. And even over my 42 years, in the workforce, as a pharmacy manager, I had to deal with a whole lot of challenges. And I think the key word here is having people feel that you care. Okay. The worst thing you can do is just for people to have that perception that she or he doesn't really care about me, you know. And so I try to make sure, and that's an everyday habit with me anyway, that you just have to value people. And my father had told me years ago, he said, keep this in mind. Reputation is what people think of you. Character is what you really are when nobody is looking. And so I've always kept that with me. My sixth grade teacher said, give honor to who honor is due. Those are little nuggets that I have kept inside me, and I try to display them every day when I wake up. And when people do something for you, be thankful. When you wake up in the morning, first of all, be thankful to God, but then be thankful for whatever people do. Like you, Keith, I appreciate you having me on this program. Thank you.
Look, I appreciate you coming on because I recognize what you do. I've been in those meetings and I'm like, why is she in every meeting I'm in? And then in other meetings too. Like, I'll be in the NA thing and I'm sitting there doing this. And I'm like, there she go. Then I'm in the booster thing. And I'm like, there she go. And I'm like, Lord, she is everything. She is like a working person. And I admire that. Like, I love it. So, and I appreciate it. Now, kind of get our little part. You probably saw Jacksonville is where you live, where you reside in that area. But obviously,
Yeah.
from a little closer to Tallahassee. What's your little spot you and your honeydew go to? I know you've been married for 50 years? Did you say 50 years?
51.
51 years.
51.
What's the honeydew spot to go to? You and your honey, no grandkids, no kids. Y'all two, what's the restaurant? What's the date spot y'all going to? I'm taking notes too.
Well, we like Maggiano's. And then I hope my son is not listening. Sometimes we slip away to Daytona Beach because we have a son that loves us so much. He wants to know where are we going. And even though he's in his 40s, can I tag along? No, this is for your father and me. So, and believe it or not, the other thing we like is sitting on the front porch in our rocking chair.
Okay. My little spot in Jacksonville is it's not in Jacksonville, it's in Ponte Vedra. It's called Pussers. I went there one time when I was in college, and that's every time I kind of get near that area, I try to slide over there. And real cool spot. Caribbean theme. It's solid though. It ain't nothing amazing though.
And we like Maggiano's,
I like their portions.
So we splurge at Maggiano's about twice a year. But we're good.
Okay. Now, best FAMU experience. Look, you've been dealing with us rattlers for a long time. Huh? So, there's obviously been the greats. There's been the not so great, but there's been the amazing as well. What was your best or has been your best FAMU experience thus far?
I think my best family experience is when I met Mr. Emmett Alexander in my physics class. And believe it or not, he walked me, which at the time I didn't know he was a football player. But for a year after football practice, he would come over to Coleman Library, walk me home to the dorm for 1 year. But now I've been married to him 51 years, and he's only been to the library once in the 51 years. But he would walk me. This is a true story. Every day for a year. Okay. True story. True
Okay.
story.
I love that.
But he not okay.
Oh man. Now what did he major in?
His major is electronics engineering.
Oh
And
goodness.
he retired. Well, it started at Bell South, and well, it was AT&T. Then it changed to Bell South, and now it's back at AT&T. And he retired as an area operational manager over engineering for AT&T.
Oh, look at God.
And so I'm thankful. I'm thankful.
Okay.
Because my dad also 8 girls. He taught us. My dad taught us with the 8 girls, romance without finance is a losing ant. So we're good.
Okay.
Did you get
All
that?
right. I did. I'm already married. Look, my wife, she didn't marry for money. She definitely married for personality and a little bit of sense. But
Yeah, we married. I
look,
married. We both married for a combination, so we're good.
there we go. Now, before I have you stump on out, you gave me your favorite restaurant. You gave me your favorite experience, FAMU experience. When you're kind of looking back at some of these organizations that you've done, and nobody else has kind of had this one. What's been your greatest experience between these organizations like F Club, Rattler Boosters, National Alumni Association? Those are heavyweight organizations within the realm of what FAMU is.
Mhm. Oh, now Keith, you asked me a question that I got to tread very carefully. So uh, my son comes into play here. I love them all, including um, the National Pharmacy Diamondback. Because if you stepped into the pharmacy building, if you look to your left, I'm on the wall, the Gallery of Distinction for distinguished alumni for their unselfish giving and enriching and enhancing the lives of others.
Okay.
And we're also in the Hall of Fame, excuse me, in the Al Lawson Center. And if you go to Perry Page, Mr. Alexander is one of the distinguished alumni from the School of Engineering. So I'm just thankful. I'm grateful. So we try to represent and not just photo shoot now. We try to represent with checkbooks.
Look, I feel honored, man. I got big time Rattlers on the show today, boy. Look, look. I got an aunt and an uncle that are there and a cousin. They had some photos up there. But I got some big wigs up here today. All right, Miss Alexander. Before I let you go, I gotta let you stump out. I gotta let you tell the people who haven't voted why they need to vote for you and why they are supposed to be picking you.
Okay, I'm asking you to vote for Hattie Alexander as your third VP because I have a history of fundraising, and all of this can be verified by the foundation. The foundation. And one of the things I forgot to mention, we have an endowment, and in September 2023, that endowment was $103,000. But 6 months later, that endowment is up to 100. As of June 24, that endowment was up to $143,000. Also, as I said earlier, Rattler Athletic Fundraising to $100,000. Field house replacement. Emmett and I said we would call 3 people a day for 2 weeks. After 3 weeks, $31,000. So it's all about fundraising, because that would be the primary goal of the third VP, to raise funds and help with the different committees in any other capacity that we are asked to serve in, keeping in mind our concept with the NAA is fridge, fundraising, recruitment, image building, and GRC, which is the Government Relations Committee. And so, given the chance to serve, I will serve to the best of my ability. So please vote Hattie Alexander as your next third VP of the NAA of Florida A&M University NAA. Thank you.
Okay, y'all got to see it, man. Look, thank you for coming on, Miss Alexander, because it helped me. I've heard the voice, I've seen the face, but I'm even more impressed. Now getting to really see the person behind everything. Like, again, part of the reason all this started. This is my first time really voting in NAA elections, even though this is not my first time as an NAA member, and so I like to be an informed voter, and I'm very confident in my decision that I'm going to probably make in about an hour or two, so I can make sure I don't forget, because my mom's already fussed at me about voting.
All right. Thank you so much, and thank you all of our listeners.
Yes, ma'am.
God
Yes,
bless.
ma'am. All right, we're gonna let Miss Alexander go. Thank you very much. Appreciate it, Miss Alexander.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Oh man, look, as y'all see, good times, man. Look, y'all know we got the sports aspect of this. I did not go to the Orange and Green game. I will be here for the baseball games. So I'm like a lot of y'all. I kind of missed the videos, but I understand. I did catch the duo with ONG Strike Zone and HBCU game day, just like a lot of y'all. So I'm right now, ain't gonna lie. I heard my favorite quarterback wasn't dressed for it. I'm not surprised. I think your biggest battles, just kind of looking at it, and part of the thing with spring, especially with the transfer portal, we know some guys are going to leave, some guys are going to stay. Oh man, y'all are more than welcome to Amber T. It's to me, with the advent of the transfer portal being what it is, it kind of slows down what you're going to see as far as the stability of the program in the spring. Remember back in the day, in the spring, man, you kind of knew like who was who. And you're like, hey, this the guy right here. Let him go. Hey, he Orlando native, man. Look, he's in my adopted city. I still don't claim Orlando for Tallahassee. Tell people quick. But I live here, so in the area. So I try to support our local kids, especially they come to FAMU. But it's gonna be interesting to see. I think part of the thing with the transfer portal, I don't know if y'all saw, Florida State had one of their quarterbacks enter the portal, quarterback from the great Jones High School. If you don't know, their coach is Elijah Williams. He was on the FAMU football staff for like 45 seconds, literally like a month or two. Then he left and came back down to Orlando. He was at Oakers then came back down. He's in the UF Hall of Fame, I believe. But there's a connection there between Jones and FAMU for multiple reasons besides orange and green, but it's historic. Don't be surprised if he doesn't get an offer. Not saying he's going to come to FAMU, but that's a kid that is from the Orlando area. He attended Jones. Before attending Jones, he attended West Orange. West Orange is on the west side, obviously, of Orange County in Winter Garden. So another school that has a very strong FAMU presence. Look for that to be interesting there. My biggest question, though, I'm like, the running backs. I know they're solid, but do we got our lightning? I seen the Thunder. The Thunder rolled all year last year. I need to see some lightning. Like I was nice last year about the running backs. I didn't let y'all talk about my running backs not having speed, but this year, even Colsey said it. So now the coach has said it. I need to see it. I feel like We're going to have a physical game. I feel like we are going to utilize the run to open up the pass. We have a nice group of receivers. And I think this is going to suck to say, but y'all know Keith's going to keep it a bean with you, even if it's not beneficial. The fact that some of our running backs are kind of what they are, great. But the fact that some of these receivers, health-wise, got injured when they did is going to keep them out of transfer portal, which, again, that sucks to say. But y'all know I'd rather be honest with you than to lie to you. Offensive line-wise, y'all saw we got a lineman. I believe he's supposed to be a center. I think that's a big focus this year. All right, you're going to see this year's offensive line. I'm just excited about it. I think depth is going to be similar, but the experience is going to be better. That offensive tackle is a question for me. I know what was it, Goss is gone, but I'll say this. I wouldn't be surprised if this year's offensive tackle is a little bit heavier and probably doesn't struggle quite as much with being like bull rush. That was one of the things with Goss. Really, he struggled with keeping weight on. And you even saw it going back to his time at Florida State, where he kind of struggled with some of the bigger linemen. He struggled with the kind of NFL caliber guys. It's going to be interesting to see right there. Marvin, what you got? Junior would have outdone the quarterbacks in yesterday's scrimmage. That's tough, man. And I'll be honest, the thing with Junior, I told y'all last year, I told you before, it's not that he doesn't know the plays. It's just that when the lights come on, if it's not where it's supposed to be, that's where the mistakes happen. But if everything lines up, dude's a killer. Like he's got the arm, he's got the legs. He's just got to make sure the decision making happens. And I think this year I'm going to err on caution. Last year I was team 7 all the whole way, but we saw what Dan Richardson did. Richardson came in, learned the offense, and what he did to surpass Junior was not only did he learn the offense, it was the decision making in game that made the big difference. And so that's why I'm still team 7. I'm still loyal, but I'm realistic. You know, I was real last year, but you know, I was there's a lot more Kool-Aid in this cup last year. This year, it's just sweet tea and lemonade, and more lemonade than sweet tea. But we're gonna see. Look, I'm hoping. I look, Marvin. I'm with you. I think if he comes to FAMU and with the advent of the transfer portal and what it is, man, that kid right there. Oh man, you can't even see my little things. I left stuff up there. There we go. There we go. Actually, see the little credentials over there on Snakey. He'd be cool though. But I think if he comes over to FAMU with the advent of transfer portal, what it is, you're going to be able to see a student athlete that, I mean, is he going to be there for 4 years? Probably not. But is it a place where he can come there, probably give you a good 2, then move up someplace? Maybe. Like, just saying. Oh, Gerald 3PG, you know he was there. If you really want to know why 7 didn't play, I uploaded the entire press conference on TV. Hey, look, check out Tallahassee Democrat Gerald Thomas III. If you don't know, now you know. A graduate of Valdosta State University and a graduate of Florida Agricultural and Mechanical University as well. Also leading the way for FAMU athletics for the Tallahassee Democrat, man. So if you haven't already followed 3PG, go follow Gerald. I ain't gonna lie to y'all. When I see his stuff on Twitter, if I see it from the Democrat page, I don't be sharing it. But if I see it from Gerald, I'll share it then. Like, I'm petty. Like, I love the Democrat. One of my best friends in life. She just messaged me. She used to work for the Democrat, Meredith. But when Gerald is his personal page, I drop it from there. Now, if it's on the Democrat, I do drop it on there. But if it's his page, yeah, I gotta support it. DR had the snaps under center for the experience. Only came in game rest. Yeah. Like, I'm just saying. I've been advocating for that personally. Please get him. and I'm going to catch Gerald. Hey, man. Me too. Look, me too. But just kind of, flipping over to the defensive side, it's about the defensive line. Like the defensive line, and if you caught the show last week, was it last week? Or was that Thursday with Brian? I believe it was Thursday, because you got the nugget where Brian told y'all Charlie Ward is probably gonna be the next basketball coach at Florida A&M University. So hey, that's all Brian from the ONG Strike Zone. But I'll say it like this: defensively, I'm excited to see two things. And remember, if you remember last year when I had Cozy on, I kind of asked him, "You gonna be a little more the CEO coach, like Nick Saban, where you kind of over the secondary, but you're the head coach, or you know?" And last year, you can see he just was like, "I'm gonna just feel it out." This year, it's like we got the opposite of Willie Simmons. Like, I don't know if y'all saw that, and that's weird to say, especially considering Willie was at the spring game, and if Willie's watching, you know, I got love for you, Willie. You know, ain't nothing against you, but it's like you got the opposite. It's like you got the, and it's weird just because you got the defensive guy who decides, hey, okay, I'm gonna go be the defensive coordinator, and Willie was the offensive coordinator. But they also had the differences in personalities where Coles's a little, you know, a little like, all right, I'm gonna think this out, you know, do this. Where Willie, he's a PR guy, you know, he already thinks stuff out. Like he's quick, like really quick on his feet. And so is Colsey. But you got that just that difference a little bit. So it's gonna be interesting to see one Colsey as the defensive coordinator. Like you have a DC, but to have that DC kind of sit in the press box and tell Colsey what he sees, that's gonna be something that's interesting. But again, my biggest piece is the defensive line. I'm so excited to see what this defensive line is going to be because you are not anticipated to lose what you lost last year. And I think that can't go undersold. I think in everything last year, that's you saying that, Mike. I didn't say it. You could say that. I'll let you say that. I know Scotty mad. He said, you got a show you're supposed to be doing. So, and one of these headphones about to die, which is fine because I got on the charge. That's what happens when you hang out with your bros. But when you kind of look at this thing here and you start thinking about it, that defensive line, that's where it starts at. We know the Dark Cloud defense last year was kind of mid. Like, and look, here we go. Rattlers have a short patience when it comes to football. You ain't never lied. And he knows last year that wasn't a standard. And you heard him say that, especially after that Valley game. Valley game, that was, to me, that was an inexcusable loss. Like that's the one that'll get you fired. That's just me. I feel like that kind of stuff gets you fired. Not saying he should get fired. I didn't say that. What I'm saying is you can't lose the teams that don't have what you have. Not like that. Like it can't be that. I'll quote my guy Bomani Jones. It can't be that. But I think on the flip side of that, when you kind of mention this right here, Mike, that's the reason the spring game wasn't televised. Like after last year, would you televise the spring game? I mean, you lose your best defensive lineman. One of them doesn't play, and he's coming back this year at Illinois. The other one plays sparingly later in the season. Like you had DBs in there in the portal and all these other guys. Like, look, baby, you're not wrong. Almost lost the boot, all BC hoop. Like, and they had a freshman running back that was running numbers. Like, I ain't gonna hold you. I'm surprised there wasn't a little tampering going on the FAMU way. Like, hey, you ever thought about coming to Tallahassee? Like, I'm just saying, like, that kid, if he could tote the rock like that, put him behind his FAMU line. Because honestly, I'm gonna stop. But linebacker-wise, I think you're solid. I think if there's anyone that does get poached, it would be like a Nayron Jenkins type cat. That might be it. I still got a question about my boy, though, from South Florida. You know, we saw him again with that thing on his leg. Is he going to get healthy? You know, that's a linebacker that I was kind of counting as a book. Like, you know, is he going to get healthy? Let him go sit at the bench for 1,500. I'm just saying, in South Florida, just saying. But yeah, I do have that question though about my boy, linebacker from South Florida. We'll see him this year because when he's played, he's got flashes, but he's going to be healthy enough to get on the field. Like that's going to be the question for me. Trying to see anybody else. Thad Franklin, I'd be concerned about that if you are kind of in the Mike Reed camp thinking, folks came up there to poach. Yeah, I'm with you, Hitman. That's why I said I would question it. I think Nayron is another. I think the FAMU lifer. I think Quan Lee would be a question or a concern, but it would have to be what the NIL money would look like in my my perspective. So to the secondary, I think this secondary is better than last year's on paper because I think last year you had a big joker, but the rest of the secondary was solid, but it wasn't great. I think this year the secondary is more balanced, and I think you're going to see some pretty solid play. You're going to see some good things. At least that's my thinking. And kicking wise, I think it's a lot better. And you even heard Nayron like say in that interview with Brian and Kelvin and Lord Vaughn that we can't blame secondary this year. We know what it is. It's got to be better. And like point blank, can we stop the run with 6 in the box? Can we get pressure with 4? Most important, defense. Hey, you're not wrong. Their front 4 last year, wasn't it? Like you had one killer. Your boy from Kennesaw State kind of came on later in the season, but besides James Ash, the quotes, CeeLo, it wasn't no killers. Like there wasn't that. So defensively, I think we're solid. I think overall, I'll look at the schedule. I know 8. I look. If you had to put me over under 8 wins, I'm going to over for FAMU. Like that's just me. I don't know if you can find that anywhere, but if you can find somewhere 8 wins, I think you're in the green on 8+. Now, as mentioned, and look, this is chess, not checkers. A lot of good players would have said, look, I'm just saying. Now, y'all do know basketball. Again, we had the conversation with Ryan. Thank you, Ryan, again for coming on. I don't expect this to last very long. I do think we are going to see some different things as far as I'll say this. There are certain hires you can't make at FAMU. Just my perspective, basketball-wise. You cannot hire somebody that has no coaching experience after what you just did to Patrick Craig. That can't fly. Like, it just can't. And if it is, and that's going to be the new standard, then we need to replace those individuals who are the holdup. Like, it needs to be a FAMU ROTC mindset of leave me, follow me, or get the hell out of the way. Because if you are going to block people from getting industry standard contracts at FAMU, you need to move on. Like that's you and I and everyone else knows that wasn't right how he got done. And that probably led to some of what happened. Like, again, coach said he didn't want to go. I got that. But what you do is you make it such that the next person coming in has a chance to win. And if it's going to be somebody who doesn't have college basketball experience, then you got to give them a bigger staff. You cannot give a first-time college basketball head coach a staff of 1. We've seen that movie at FAMU before. It was bad. It didn't work. And it made the coach look incompetent. When the coach understood the game, but he also didn't have support. If the word is the word, I'm hopeful that individual gets a staff of at least 4 and that the budget is on par. Like, it's got to be something on par. And even with that, we have to grow up in our contract writing. I said this before. I said this with Willie Simmons. I'll say it with Cozy. And you should have did the same thing with Patrick Craig. There needs to be an incentive clause to where if a coach leaves early, you get a cut. Like, there has to be some type of buyout. Like, it makes no freaking sense that within a month of this brother signing an extension, he's gone. and it don't look like you got anything. I'm not going to speak on authority and say that we didn't get nothing, but if he left for a song and Grambling didn't cut you a check of at least $50K, what the heck are you doing? Like, he just signed a 4-year deal that he's going to get what he deserves financially, and you're not getting nothing? Where he literally cut his teeth at FTU, STU, St. Thomas, as a basketball coach and athletic director. Then came to FAMU, and y'all hit him with that prove it crap, and he proved it. And then he signed an extension, and in the process, you got nothing for it? Where they do that at? Like, Grambling got him for nothing? Just broke the contract and nothing? Like, and I'm not saying it's wrong. I said it from day one. I said it in the midst of last year. I was stumping hard for my mans. Yo, they doing crazy dirty. I told y'all, I saw him at a football game. He's like, man, I appreciate it. I rock with you. Like, Angie's getting me right. I believe in her. I trust in her. They had a good relationship. From everything I've known, talking to both Coach Crary and AD Suggs, online and offline, they've both had a great relationship with each other. Like, I'm just saying, and I've not been able to confirm my sources. Did the Athletic Grambling offer before he left? My sources confirmed that he was offered, but I don't have it on like hard paper, but I got that from people I trust that say we did offer. So just saying. And look, didn't cause, they didn't expect nothing, and that's the issue right there. They don't expect anything to come from FAMU athletics. I don't disagree. Like, if you, and this is what irks me. If you're not gonna give people like a clause within the contract that says we get some type of compensation if the coach leaves, do you really expect that coach to win? Like, that's a real question, because these kids hit the portal and they're gone and you get nothing. Like, you just saw what the Tennessee dude, with the quarterback, they offered, he was getting paid $2 million. He said, I want $4 million. And the coach was like, bro, you can go. $4 million ain't worth it. You ain't that accurate. Like, coach literally said it in a very professional way. You're not that guy. You're not a $4 million man. Like, so at FAMU, what are we saying about ourselves athletically if we're bringing in a James Colsey and we're seeing where Colsey has experience? Dr. Colsey has coaching experience. This is his second time being a head coach. Not saying he's the greatest, but I'm saying he's coached at multiple places. It's fair to say he has a decent season at FAMU. Maybe 2. You don't think some other school might try to get him? Like, we just saw what happened with Eddie George. Granted, Eddie George has a different name. Eddie George has a name. He won the Heisman Trophy at Ohio State. Then he went to Tennessee State after playing in the NFL. And then he went and got a job at a college in Ohio. Dude, okay. But even then, somewhere in that contract should have said, if you leave before this time, we get this much money. There's a buyout. And the buyout goes down the closer to the end of your contract. Because if you fire him early, you got to pay him. So if you leave early, voluntarily, you should get paid. Like, look, thank you, Mr. Campbell. Like, Mr. Campbell, you know, this summer, look, I got a chicken bone to pick with you, Doc. We haven't done a show together, Doc. And I've talked to Mr. Campbell on the phone, man. Mr. Campbell is good people. So look, when I say that, it's tongue in cheek, but it's meant to be an invite. Mr. Campbell, you know, you are welcome. We definitely got to make that work. I as I stated, I have spoken with that brother on the phone. Cool, man. Good people. And when I say, I believe I have his number. And look, salt of the earth. Look, I've never had one of my peoples or myself say we hit Mr. Campbell up and he didn't respond. So, and that's not me blowing smoke, but y'all know I'm honest about my, even with Miss Alexander, she's like that in the meetings. But anywho, folks start jobs now with end days. Better place your bets now. People are loyal to their wants and needs. Yep. And look, only if we match the offer, then some. Need to stop with the he wanted to stay at FAMU stuff. Okay, I'll say this. And I ain't gonna show the phone call, the message. When I messaged him, and I'm speaking of Crary, he messaged me back and he said he didn't want to leave. So I think he just got a better deal as far as like respect, and the other pieces like revenue sharing portions. I think that was the part that made a difference. As I pointed out, ONG Strike Zone this summer was when they had Crary on, and he talked about how he really wanted to make more money, but he wanted the program to get more money so he could give it back to the players. I think part of what we have to look at for our everything is not football, is start looking at how we can generate revenue sharing, and even with football, create that, because otherwise you are a huge basketball potential with no follow through. Like, and Marvin, exactly. That's my point. You saw this dude was a rising star. Anybody with some sense told you, and it wasn't just HBCU pundits. It was the people outside of the room. And I'm not saying I give a lot of credence to people because they're not black. But when I'm hearing black people and white people and people who know basketball say, yo, that dude's got chops, that's different. Like that's just like me, you, and being like, man, Dion this and Dion that. I don't think he's a great X and O's coach. But do I think that dude is worth his weight in gold for what he brings to a program? Absolutely. Revenue, money, like, yeah. The coaching staff he puts together at every school he's gone to, Deion Sanders is worth his weight in gold. And I'm not even a prime guy like that. Like, there we go, based off relationships. I love that, Ms. Campbell. Like, and that matters. Like, as we told y'all. And you heard multiple people say the same thing. It wasn't 19. Like, when I'm telling you, I ain't gonna say she doesn't have people she may or may not like, but one thing I've respected about Angela Suggs, and this is just, and I haven't known her forever. I ain't gonna lie to y'all. I've known her for her time at FAM, but she keep it business. Business is business. Like, even when she's kind of like, you catch her off the cuff, she gonna hit you a little business. Like, I never forget that first time kind of getting in the elevator talking. I was like, oh Lord, here we go. She said, what are we gonna do about these boosters? And I was like, I don't know. I was waiting on you to take over. And she started laughing, put her head down. I was like, I'm being real. I thought you were gonna do the FSU thing. And she was like, it wasn't like that. Like, for those who didn't know, like, it wasn't. Like, she's been really cool. She's fought for the guy. Like you said, Ms. Campbell, it's got to be about relationships. I definitely think I think what Brian said is right. And that's why I keep giving Brian credit. I don't see a Leonard Hamilton coming to FAMU. I just don't think it works financially for FAMU. But I can see a Charlie Ward. I think that's something where you get a splash. And I think that's a person that helps you kind of reach over the border. You get the South Georgia to kind of come in as well. So, and right here, you can see in the picture GSU posted as well at the press conference, the stress and tension in his forehead and even disappeared. He finally got a smile. Look, I'm just saying. In talking to him post game, like I said, I talked to him. He's planning on coming back. Like, he knew he could do some things here. Hollow, I don't think something is there. Something is off. Like, something about that Jerry curl just on curl right. Because from my conversations in multiple places, and even kind of like hitting him up in the past, there's an interest. He's interested in FAMU from what I can tell. I don't know what to miss. I don't know if it's the fear of the fear of a white guy being the head coach? Or is it just something else that's external, but something ain't right? So I know Wright was my top candidate when we were doing the query search. Even in this, I mean, the scary part for this season, if you are you sure, Arlo? You don't care. I don't care. I know a lot of people who wouldn't consider it. I'll say that. But the scary part, if you're AD 19 basketball wise, and it's not even a scary thing, it's that you could potentially be doubling up on basketball coach this year. Like the way this transfer portal hit FAMU basketball and the way this team was last year, man, it get a little dicey for Coach Gordon this year. Like, not trying to like move that direction, but just to be honest with you, like the pressure's on. Like that would be a very interesting situation. And then I think from that, it would be interesting to see how you invest. Because I'm like some of y'all, do we care about basketball? Like, and with basketball recruiting period opening on the 16th, any prospects from the portal or high school? I mean, you already lost to a signing. He's supposed to commit to Grambling. Like, and I'm with you. I love Coach Gordon. I'm hoping some of the recruits that she had are going to stick. This is where, again, I really feel like the hope that I have for this basketball team, especially with what we've seen in the portal, I wouldn't be surprised if 1 or 2 come back. But I honestly, if she could get away with another year, like I would hope Coach Gordon get a 1-year extension. This is in a perfect world. Get a 1-year extension, load this team up with high school talent, struggle. Come back next year and kick ass. Like that's just me. I would love in a perfect world for FAMU's women's basketball team, next year to have a season where it's kind of like, it was all right, and then get a 1-year extension and kick butt. I'm just saying. And look, AD 19, there's a lot of interest in our basketball coaching job. Man, you got good facilities, doc. And the arena is like 20 years old. And we're on what? Scoreboard number 3? Third scoreboard. The meeting rooms in there are nice. If you have not been in the bowels of the Lawson Center, it's still a nice arena. It holds up. The seating is not bad. I'll be honest. The seating in Lawson is comparable to the seating at UCF. I'll be honest. And the under of the arena are very similar as well. Like, I'll say this, while Lawson is wearing 20 years, she don't show it. Like, she's not outdated in any ways that I can tell. Now, I haven't been in the players' locker rooms. I'm pretty sure they could use a little updating, especially after what we've seen at Alabama A&M. But it's gonna be interesting to see, man, kind of what this program turns into and what it finishes out as. Now baseball, softball, I gotta give them some love before we go. They're kicking butt, taking names. But this weekend, baseball is gonna be here. Interesting matchup. I really want to ask that question, and then Coach Shoop, I'm gonna hit you up. Are they staying in Orlando all week? I think Tuesday they have UCF, then Thursday through Saturday, Cookman in Sanford, which is just north of Orlando in Seminole County at a historical baseball site there. So it's gonna be interesting, man. It'll be some fun, man. And she coached her butt off. He was on a player. We lost that game by 4. Hey, coach is solid, man. I feel we should have a coach announced soon. She moved swiftly with the softball coach hire, so basketball is to be around the corner. And Marvin, you're probably right. We'll see though. I think that was a great catch by Brian. Just understanding, and that just shows having those chops, having that understanding, local connection. It's gonna be interesting, man. That was a good call for him though. Of course, the Big Al Arena looks good. It's only being few graduations. And look, you're right, Ms. Campbell. I think what we've seen under AD Suggs, gosh, it hasn't been a year yet, but it's crazy. It feels like it's been a year. Like, I think by next football season, it'll be her first full year. Look how things have changed. There's stability in the places she's been allowed to be impactful in, if that makes sense. Like, I get, even with the basketball stuff, that's crazy to say, like, our basketball coach just left, but there's stability. There is. Because honestly, that wasn't they're doing. That was on the board of trustees. They messed us up on that. Like, but you start look at the football stadium. I saw Bobby posted that picture yesterday, football field, with you start to see corporate logos on there. We've been talking for the longest and saying, hey, alumni can't pay for this by themselves. You just can't. We don't have the numbers. I mean, you can sit there and bang the drum all day. Only 4% alumni are NAA members. That's normal. Like, we always hit that. We brag different stuff. Okay, but if we're going to brag different, that means we just go find ways to get money different. We can't just do the same thing they do and ask us to do it better. That's not bragging different. That's just being better. Like, if we're going to brag different, we're going to find a different way of doing it. And you can see that the corporate sponsorships have picked up. You saw it in football season. Corporate sponsorships picked up. Orange and green game. It was what, $20? And normally that mug was like, wasn't 20. Some was about free. But 4,000 showed up, $20. That's a decent little cut. Like, you're starting to see where things are getting finished. And, credit to AD Sykes. She got the tennis courts updated before she left. I don't dislike that lady like that. Not like some of y'all. But you starting to see where it seems like the coaches are comfortable. Like, and right there, very normal. All schools get major money from major donors and corporate sponsors, not of 80% of alumni giving. Exactly, little baby. Like, we've got to figure out a way, and having that athletic director that has those relationships, as we talked about with, as Mr. Campbell pointed out with Curry, relationships matter. As Hattie pointed out, Miss Alexander, relationships matter. Relationships matter. Can we get FAMU in front of more people? And can we not only get FAMU in front of, but present them a winning product? Like, we all know people like winners. Like, we just had a president get elected on the idea that there's never going to be as much winning as when he's president. Don't look at stock count. I don't look at mine. It ain't that big no way. But don't look at your 401k. I don't even check that. No. But there's never going to be as much winning as there was. Like, people like winners. And I think one of the things with this AD, and hopefully with this new president, that's going to be the question I get. Do we get a president that's a DeSantis crony? That's a DeSantis anti-woke, anti-DEI person? Or do we get somebody that genuinely gives a damn about FAMU? Like, miss me with the woke stuff. All that means is somebody's black, or they don't subscribe to your narrow view of life. Anybody that's different from you is woke. Anybody that supports people who are outside of it's a DEI thing. Like, miss me with that. That's bull. Like, let's get to the rationale and the real. We need somebody that's going to fight for FAMU on all sides. You can say what you want to about Larry. Larry was great about fundraising. Didn't give two shits about football. But he was great about fundraising. That's just what it was. Football wasn't his thing. Sports was not his thing. He liked sports. He cared about sports. He still cares about sports. He just didn't get it. And guess what? That doesn't mean he didn't care. He just didn't get it. Some things, I'm not a great dancer. I look, for the life of me, The stroll is, I'm struggling. I'm like, all right, let me practice. I watch. I'm gonna put it in slow mo. It's gonna take me like good 2-3 months. I'm gonna have it though. Look, I got the shoulders right there. The shoulders stay crispy. But the rest of it, it's coming. You got to put it in a way that you can understand it, and you have to pitch things in a way that's gonna work. Like, and I love what Mike says. We've got numbers. Now we need products folks want to buy. Draw up, price suites, club seats, turn the North End Zone to a multi-tier entertainment area, and the money's there. I agree. I also think we need to fix the press box situation. That was a temporary solution to me. I could be wrong, but that was a temporary fix because how much is that press box is really just a place to kiss butt? Like, how much of it is actually generating revenue versus how much of it is just a place where you're kind of hosting dignitaries? Like, and there's a place for that, but a certain part in a certain area, your press box should be a place that generates revenue and big revenue. I'm just saying, like, that's me. And knowing and having friends that work in corporate America, they literally have corporations that buy suites, give away the tickets, and it's like, hey, you want to go, you go. If you don't, you don't. So key for corporate sponsorship is what you can tell a corporation that as a university alumni are committed to athletics before they commit. I'll be honest with you, Hollow and EA. I don't think what we see as commitment to athletics is true commitment, if that makes sense. Like, I think what we're asking people to do when we say commit to athletics is support regardless of the results. But that's not fandom. Like, that's blind loyalty. That's what you do for the university. But for the athletic program, a good fan supports regardless, yeah. But a good fan is also the type of person that's like, yo, if you're not treating me right, I got to find something new. Like, and I think we have to provide something, as Mike pointed out, that's going to keep people coming back, but that's also a product that people are going to want to invest in. Like I told you, I didn't go to the spring game yesterday. That's 3 hours. This is 6 hours for a turnaround for a spring game, which is a good chance a good amount of those guys might not even be on the roster. Whereas for me, I'm like, hey, I can wait 2 days and I can see FAMU 4 out of 7 days in a week. And the UCF baseball game might be on TV. And if it's on TV, I'm going to catch that so I don't get in trouble. Not that I get in trouble, but so like at a certain point, we have to ask fans to be rational. Like, I don't see a lot of people wearing Cleveland Browns gear. Outside of when the Bengals won that Super Bowl, not a lot of Bengals fans, not a lot of Oakland A's fans. Like, you have to have a product that people want to support. Don't get me wrong, I love the Dallas Cowboys. That's my squad. I like the Bucks and the boys. But there ain't no bunch of Cowboy fans that are like 14, 15 years old. I'm just telling you, you go to a school near you, unless somebody's got roots in Texas, ain't no bunch of young Cowboy fans. Like, who are the kids fans of? LeBron James. They like the Lakers. Football wise, the Chiefs. Like all the kids. Football, NFL, they like the Chiefs. NBA, they like the Warriors or the Lakers. People want to be around success. My age group when I was a kid, it was the Bulls, Michael Jordan. Like, you want to be associated with winners, and we got to give you winners to want to be associated with, because that draws corporate sponsors. That draws non-corporate sponsors, because all of a sudden you're supporting a winning product. So, some good times, man. Look, we're approaching 9:30 mark. Let's see. Jacksonville will have the it ready in 2 years. Look, I'm just saying, in 2 years, 2 or 3? I think it's 3, right? It's like 3. In 3 years, if FAMU can get a game in Jacksonville, huge. I'll be honest. The problem with Jacksonville versus Orlando for the Florida Classic is that it's just the entertainment factor. But if it wasn't for that, now I will say, I said it once, I said it before. I'm fine with FAMU having 4 home games. If one of those home games can be a classic, like we got 5 homes and 4 of them at home, and one of them becomes a game in Jacksonville. Look, a game in Jacksonville, Miami, in Orlando. I'm just saying, that's good recruiting. I mean, you hitting 3 of the biggest cities in the state. You hitting 2 NFL stadiums and one that's going to look like an NFL stadium, because you might have to move the Classic one year. Because they're supposed to renovate the stadium in Orlando, if y'all don't know. So does Jacksonville make a play for that? Does Tampa try to get back in your good graces? Like, all of a sudden, like, these cities cut you $100,000 check just for showing up. Plus, I mean, I believe AD said the starting conversations 3, and that's the old contracts, 4 to 5, $500 million just for FAMU to show up and bring the band. It's not a bad thing. NFL facilities, like, I'm just saying, man, what are y'all actually doing in Orlando that can't be done anywhere else in the state? Man, we got Disney, Universal, iDrive, SeaWorld. Like, Jacksonville ain't got that, respectfully. And I'm not from here, but y'all ain't got it like that. Don't get mad, Mike. They ain't got it like that in Jacksonville. Tampa ain't got it like that. Y'all got Busch Gardens. It's solid now. And y'all got the beaches. We ain't got no beaches, but we got Volcano Bay. Like, it's different, Doc. But just saying, look, if the OVC could be the one that could move, that would be pretty cool, man. Look, I love Orlando. They changed the Classic from there. Yeah, man. That's why I said it's, to me, it's the hotel space, all that, man. Hitman said you might have to miss it. Hey, telling y'all, man. We will show. I'm telling you, I'm excited, Marvin. Like, I have not been to. Okay, this is gonna show how long it's been. I don't think I've been to that stadium since Alltel. It might have been a little bit after Alltel, but it was before they put the pools in. Like, it's been a while. Like, we talking 20 years since I've been in Jacksonville. That stadium, definitely a move. Tampa, I went for the USF FAMU game. So then same thing, Miami, OBC a few years ago, Orlando, Florida Classic. So yeah. Atlanta Celebration Bowl. Man, I ain't gonna lie, I did like the old Georgia Dome too. Like, so yeah. Like, bring the band, 800. Bring the band. I said, look, I'm just saying, you gotta have the right team too, though. I think for Jacksonville, you gotta have. South Carolina State might do it nowadays with Chennis. With Chennis Berry as their coach, that could go on. But yeah, don't miss out on. It's an NFL state. Y'all try. I'm gonna ask you this, Marvin. I know this ain't a Jaguar podcast. You keeping Trevor Lawrence? You gonna trade him? I'm asking for a friend. Like, it's just me. I ain't gonna lie. If it's me and I'm Shad Khan, look, there it goes. Boom goes the dynamite. I'm blowing it up. I'm blowing the spot up. If I'm the Jaguars, I'm blowing the spot up. I'm starting over. That year they come to Orlando, man. I might be there, but it's gonna be rough. Like, I'm blowing it up. Oh, you're an Eagles fan? Okay. You good then? Shoot, y'all all right? Y'all got a quarterback squatting 750 pounds. I know. See if they're gonna make that play illegal though. Hitman said, "Look, I'm just saying, 3-hour drive from them, 2.5 hours from Tallahassee, hour from Orlando. Like, I think when you're starting to look at putting that game in Jacksonville, a game in Jacksonville. I think this is the way Jacksonville wins, and this is how I would pitch it. I wouldn't touch Tennessee State with a 10-foot pole. They didn't travel that well, man. Like, I know part of that was that hurricane last time, but I don't know, man. But I ain't gonna lie. I think the trick with Jacksonville is you really got to partner with those other alumni. So you got to make sure that you getting the folks from Tallahassee coming all the way down Orlando and back north. I'll reach over to Mike in the group in Tampa too. I ain't forgetting y'all, but y'all got an extra like 2 hours on us to get to Jacksonville. So that's like a, what, 3.5, 4 hour ride for y'all? I can get to Jacksonville in like 2 hours. Like, and it's not a bad ride. We got you got Buc-ee's on the way. Then you get up there, and this the trick. The other trick, do something in St. Augustine, because you know they got a Buc-ee's over there too. And Negroes love Buc-ee's. Negroes love Buc-ee's. Y'all do have the history. I know Jacksonville. Look, I went to the one that was in South Carolina State when nobody showed up. I was there. We rolled over. We left over. And we left. For some reason, we were going to stop and go to Jenkins for barbecue, but it was too late. I just feel like my mom was like, I want to go to Jenkins. My dad like, ain't nobody going to Jenkins. I ain't got time. I'm trying to go. I'm tired. Game over. But yeah. Keep them like the Black News Channel in Tallahassee. I'm just saying, man. How would you feel about Tuskegee? How they gonna travel? Check your history. Okay. I don't know about Tuskegee though. For me, my teams for Jacksonville, NCAT. Honestly, I don't know. I don't think that'd be too bad of a little gig either. North Carolina A&T. South Carolina State, definitely. I don't know if Alabama State would want to make that ride. I mean, it's an extra like 2 hours. Somebody like them, maybe though. Yeah, that's most of it, man. Like, because you can't really get cooked, man. Maybe one of the schools in Texas, like the if you think about it, to me, a school like a Prairie View or a Texas Southern would be perfect in Jacksonville just because it's direct flight. Like, it's easier for them to get to Tallahassee and cheaper. I mean, Jacksonville, excuse me. It's easier to get to Tallahassee, like road-wise, but it's cheaper to fly to Jacksonville. Like, you could probably get a direct flight out of Houston to Jacksonville. Like, just saying. You don't think so? Ooh, Marvin, I don't know, but that's Southern. Southern's done it though. Southern played Cookman over there a few years ago. I think Jackson State did as well. So that wouldn't be someplace that's foreign to them either. So yeah, I got some ideas. Like, yeah, that's where I'm at. Hollow. Like, I love Tuskegee. Honestly, if you just do Tuskegee again, I think you could almost do a game in like Mobile again, but that's man, you kind of dependent on the West Florida Rattlers to make that ride, because I know a lot of folks in Tallahassee ain't gonna do that. Like, FAMU and BCU need to partner with South Carolina State to rotate every year. It's not a bad idea. Like, it's really not a bad idea. Like, it's beneficial for everybody too, because what you don't realize is South Carolina State has done a really good job recruiting the state of Florida in the past. I don't know about now, but that's not a bad ride. For Jacksonville to Daytona, what, about an hour and a half? And they normally play like a game there every year. Like, Mike, you got one on that one. Like, and just literally rotate it as a classic where South Carolina State is the constant. But FAMU and Cookman, have them rotate back and forth. Whoever want to be there, that's pretty cool. Okay. I like that, man. Look, share some of these AD, man. Southern has a sizable alumni base in Jacksonville. Really? I did not know that. Okay. I only know like one Southernite in Orlando. He's in my chapter. It's like, outside of that, I don't know nobody went to Southern. Yeah, I don't. I only know. It's only Dominique, man. He's the only Jaguar I know. I know some Jackson State Tigers here in Central Florida, though. We have a couple of them, man. They want FAMU on the schedule every year if possible. Really? I can see that, though. The only problem, and I tell people all the time, that ride from Tallahassee to Orangeburg, not going to be able to do it. I think Jacksonville's the perfect place for that, man. All right, y'all. Let me let y'all get up out of here. Y'all got to get to work in the morning, so do I. So thank you for Hattie Alexander. I definitely appreciate her coming on, talking. Probably gonna be the last one. This is a get back to talking to sports, man. This week we're gonna be at the FAMU BCU game, man. Some baseball. So I went last year before at Daytona. So this year I'm going to Sanford. So that's gonna be the first time over there, first experience. Just sent my stuff in. I'm late. Sorry to the BCU crew, but you know, Mike's supposed to sleep at work. Can't have y'all doing that, man. Look, but for everybody, man, thank you for everyone who came on. Curtis, I mean, the whole list of people who have showed up, man. See if we can run back through them right fast. So that was today's title. And so, you know, look, Hattie, thank you for coming on. As I know, she's also with the Rattler Boosters. So support the Rattler Boosters. They tend to buy the muscle milk and other things. Also, St. Clair, if you missed that, go catch him. But thank you, Jeremiah. Jeremiah is going to be your corresponding secretary. He's running on a post. He won. Congratulations. My partner in crime. That's why I have him on so often, because we do a lot of the technology stuff for the region together. So I appreciate you, Jeremiah. Looking forward to continue working with you. Thank you, Curtis Johnson. He came on and stumped for a little bit with Mr. Chuck Lewis, but look, I didn't know he was, you know, one of the first, but but even still, Curtis is always welcome, and he is vying for your vote as the next National Alumni Association president. He's the incumbent. William Human, friend of the show, been on a few times. He came on, told y'all why he should be, you know, the next one. He's got some ads running for you as well. He's the over the Florida region, so you know. And Artisha Polk, she came on, talked about her desire to be your next FAMU president. Thank you as well. Mr. Charles Lewis, Chuck Lewis. Look, Chuck's my DP. So there's a special place in my heart for the entire Lewis family, but especially Chuck. Chuck is running for first VP of the FAMU National Alumni Association. Good brother, Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated. So he is up there. Yeah, I know where you went to school. I know where you crossed that. Right here, Ashley Cooper, president of the JRE Elite chapter. She's done some great things up there. She came on the show, talk, told y'all she's a deserving candidate. Look, AKA, she got it though. My sister girl got it together, man. Deborah Payton Jones, Delta Sigma Theta, but she came on also running for first VP. I ain't gonna lie. Look, I'm glad I ain't running for nothing because this is a tough time. It's tough. Like, then we saw Eleanor McCoy. She came on the other day, Thursday, I believe, talked about, you know, her running for second VP. She is actually here in Orlando with the Orlando chapter. So, and if you haven't already done so, get your tickets to be in Texas. I think I know where it's going to be next year. I'll probably be at that one. So, but for everybody that came on, thank y'all. Everybody who's watched. Look, we'll see y'all Thursday, probably live from the baseball game. So we might even have a special guest on there to kind of talk about what we're seeing. And, you know, we do have a special guest that's supposed to come on. So we'll see if we can maybe just catch him in the stadium if he's already there. All right, y'all. For everybody, HBCU Digital Network, you already know what it is and what it's always going to be. Thanks up.
Yeah, baby, you know what time it is. Now let's get it started.
Are you kidding me? Unreal.
While our HBCUs are mostly known for academic rigor, community, they also know how to turn up.
Dorsey, have it.